One, one, two, 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 test, test.
All right, so should be there any minute now. I don't know. Hey, there we go. We should be good.
Woo-hoo! Guys, oh my gosh, we're so happy we're here.
Oh,
Uh,
just kidding. We're not ready. Oh, now we're ready. So,
ready? Are we
I
on?
don't know. I think we're live. Yeah.
We might be live here. Wow. One thing we were talking about before we got on, we were talking about reciprocity. Basic.
Reciprocity or altruism. Altruism. So
Yeah.
basically, when we get this channel started, we should probably just, give you an idea of what we're going to be talking about in the beginning, and then you can kind of figure out if this is going to work for you or not. But we like to cover mindset and, different things within psychology and being able to move forward and understanding people. So over here, on my mind recently is coaches online, right? And well, some different views other people may have versus, what could be going on behind the curtain. And Tharpo, you thought it was reciprocity. I guess you could flip it to reciprocity, but talk to me a little bit about that.
Reciprocity is okay. So I'm going to go back a little and go givers give and takers take. Okay, now a giver, I tend to be a giver most of the time, but sometimes I get my butt hurt because I don't set the boundaries I might want to or I may ought to, but who knows. So a giver gives, and a taker takes. That's what they do. And so when the taker takes, if they take too much, then the giver gets butthurt. But that's because the giver didn't set up the boundaries at the first, say, or setting up or making them too late to get that. But what do you expect? Expectations of when you give. Scott was talking about a friend who says that people never give really without wanting something back. And that might be true, it might not be. We were discussing that
Well,
if,
there's a caveat to that. Altruism basically is being able to give because it's fulfilling to you. So and I don't know if necessarily that means something coming back. He says he doesn't believe in altruism. So yeah, I guess giving something without you know, I guess you could say giving something back, but basically somebody just giving to give, or just because it's like beneficial to the community. And
right.
so, yeah, I guess you could flip it back to reciprocity, but I don't know. I'd have to get him here to
Well, no,
explain
I
more,
was
right?
saying reciprocity is not that, actually. I was saying reciprocity is wanting something back and somebody giving it back because they feel that they feel in their mind that reciprocity is good. Now, some takers are takers and they don't care because if you're stupid enough to give to me, I'm going to take it. That's not my fault. It's not my fault. And then if you go too far down that road, you get a narcissist because I'm better than you and you should give it to me anyway because I deserve it. You're not smart enough to have it anyway.
You
Why are
should be
you?
grateful that I'm even here to tell you.
Yeah, I mean, God, you know, if I didn't take your stuff, someone else would. You're just that stupid. Might as well benefit somebody who's worthy, me. No, so let's go back to reciprocity. A lot of times, if you're a person who believes in reciprocity and likes it, if you give back, if somebody gives you something, usually you're going to give back because it's in your morals. And if you don't, you feel a little not as happy because you're going against your morals. If you believe it's a give and take world, just say that you believe when you give, here's a Zig Ziglar, and I'm not going to explain that who it is, but a very good salesman in the past who died said, help
Bummer.
enough people in the world get what you want, or help enough people. There you go. It's opposite there. No, help enough people in the world get what they want, and you'll get what you want. And that's kind of what I've worked on for my philosophy, kind of taking his, and it's helped me because a giver, again, a giver, if they give and they get something out of it because it helps them feel better or whatever about themselves. So when they're giving, they're feeling pretty good. Now, a taker says, well, I'm you should be happy that I'm taking because I'm making you feel good. So,
So, so yeah, so basically there's a couple different scopes when it comes to reciprocity, and basically if it's a win-win situation is where it turns out to be most beneficial for both parties. Now, I think Jeff was referring to mostly like a narcissist personality where they would come to you and ask you for something, and then of course you would give it if you were, really empathetic and like wanted somebody else to like you type thing, and then you would give like, let's say, a bigger item. So when it comes to sales, though, let's talk about reciprocity on a little bit of a smaller scale, right? So if you go up to somebody and you don't know who they are, but yet you give them something, right? Let's say you give them a pamphlet or anything in particular, and then all you want in return is time, right? So that's on a really smaller scale. Like, oh, here's a free gift, for signing up for X, Y, and Z, something like a lead magnet. That's the whole point of reciprocity. Like if somebody was going to get married and I gave you an app that you could plan your wedding, all I would ask for in return is a chance to sit down with you. So that's reciprocity. The way Jeff was explaining it, or the way of the model in that instance, was somebody who's taking advantages of somebody else and then just running off into the dark, and then just stringing you along because you were being rewarded with praise or something like that, and it could have been fake. So just understanding the scope of reciprocity, of how it works and how it doesn't work. And altruism basically is what my friend was talking about, where let's say like a big public speaker, who's educating the crowd, and altruism would be like, me helping you out and expecting nothing in return, because the only thing I want in return is, lifting somebody else up, and that's fulfilling to me, which he doesn't believe people do that. And I do believe they do that, because if you don't help somebody get to the next level, like Zig Ziglar, right? Help enough people get what they want, you'll be able to get what you want. So you have to be able to put back into the force, the system, the universe, in order to come back to you, because that's the whole thing with my other coach, Frank Kern. He's like, well, I don't, what's the intent, right? Is the intent to, try and get one over on somebody? Or maybe the intent is, oh, just to lift them up. What Frank Kern says, hey, look, I'm trying to give you the most value for your buck so that you stay with me. So, and there's a lot of other like businesses and coaches that I've had where they won't give you a personal call. Like there's one I'm talking to right now where I bought, packages in the past, and I bought like a lifetime subscription to something that no longer is being offered. So, and when I bought this package, that was what the guy said. He went on stage and says, I'm not going anywhere. This isn't going anywhere. You might as well buy the lifetime offer and it'll be here forever. That was less than 2 years ago. And then I got this person, one of their sales team on the phone, and I asked for an email, get my login credentials for something, that used to be a live call every single week that's no longer being offered, but you're supposed to still have access to all the back videos. And I haven't even gotten an email yet saying, well, here's your login to the back videos that we have. Sorry, we're not offering this anymore. Yet it was, let me take your money and run with it. So again, is it a good or bad thing? Well, it could be a good thing, because now you've gone through that lesson, and you wouldn't have learned that lesson any other way unless you went through the steps to do it. Now, moving forward, you're going to ask better questions so that the same thing doesn't happen to you. So something else that happened, kind of funny, right? Somebody gave us a call for the DJ company, and they wanted, some money for us to put an ad in their magazine. So I was kind of at the moment was like, well, I haven't heard of this venue, and I was like, well, let me go sit down with them, and they said they do like 350 some odd events, a year. And so I went ahead and bought the magazine, and then after I did that, I was like, man, I didn't get any information on how this is going to link to their website or how many clicks they get. I mean, they may have 350 events a year, but are they going to need a DJ? And then it became suspicious, because the next week I got a call from that same company, and I think it's the same company. It's not many English, accented people calling up, looking for this type of thing, which I didn't talk to the first person because my wife did, just like because my wife came around the corner and she was like, "Oh, look, we did such," because we had just been at that venue, but I don't know how they got our phone number. But she thought it was because, oh, we did such a great job. They wanted us to be on their venue list, which that theory kind of went out the window when I got a call yesterday from the same company going, hey, there's another venue if you want to give us some more money. But I don't think they had realized that we had got connected in. So basically, understanding more of a wider scope. Is it true? Is it not true? And then is it something that you really want to move forward with? And sometimes because we know sales, emotions is what makes the decision, right? Logic and reasoning is what we use to get to the emotions. But if you're not using your logic and reasoning, then it's easier to get one up on you. And then because it was my wife's telling me that she had the phone call, that I took a lot of things for granted without actually getting the information. And this could happen to you as well. So again, understanding these things, understanding coaches, and then, well, if that guy would have never called me the next week, then I would have never put that together. So be mindful. But again, altruism. I do believe people will go out there and try and lift somebody else up because it's rewarding to them. And those are empathetic people and they're probably kinesthetic. So I do believe in that. And I also
Well,
do believe that there's the opposite, right? Like people will tell you whatever they got to tell you to get what they want and then run into the dark. And it's up to you to figure out if it's a win-win situation.
okay, so I want to throw a send in there. Basically, when you say uh, that they're wanting to help the world without anything expectations, the expectation for the person, if they're doing what you're saying, is that they're going to feel better about themselves. That's why a giver gives and a taker takes. A giver gets something out of giving. Now, what I think he's saying is no one truly gives without expecting something back. It doesn't matter what they're expecting back. And if, uh, but here's what we say to a friend. Like if you were asked me advice, should I loan somebody money? And I say, if you loan anyone money, if it's your friend or anyone, well, if it's your friend, let's just go with a friend. If you're loaning your friend money, just know that you need to be willing to lose that money. Because if you're not willing to lose that money, you're going to lose that friend if he messes up and he doesn't have, not necessarily, but more than likely, if you give without the thought that you're giving, if you're giving and you're expecting him to pay you back and he doesn't, you're going to again get butthurt. And but my friend, I wouldn't believe he would do that to me. And it might just be the circumstances, or he might have had to pay a different bill, or he put somebody above you while doing paying that other bill back, and he's not going to pay you like he said, I was going to pay you next week, but things came up, and then it's a month later. So just think about that scenario and how would you react if one of your friends borrowed money? That's that's why I usually wouldn't let most friends borrow money. But if you do let somebody borrow money with that thought, is you're kind of give it to him and you hope for the best. Because if you don't, now in a business deal, you get a contract, and if they don't do it, then
Yeah,
you're
and then there's
kind of
lawyers involved and
yeah, it's kind of the same way when so that's almost everything in life. So what do you and then you go with your expectations. That's where you bring your happiness level up or down. If you expect that that person's going to pay you back and they don't, then your expectations of that is going to guide your feelings, how you feel about that. Now, I would be saying that word better, but I'm not. The altruism.
altruism.
Okay, so I'm not saying that exactly right. So I have,
Basically, is fulfillment.
uh, well, fulfillment for helping others or helping the world or just really giving. See, this is where your friend and I kind of, there's a disconnect right there. If they're giving without any expectation at all, just giving, and that's all they're wanting to do, and not doing it for their wealth or anything,
I
just
guess if he was here, he would say if you were a sales guy, that would be his indicator that
right,
people wouldn't give just to give.
right, because they're a sales guy. They're expecting something back. If you're a salesperson, you expect something, either goodwill or money or the next sale or something like that. We're not talking about that with that word. We're talking about people. giving of themselves without expecting anything back, but basically helping humanity. And I'm sure they're like Mother Teresa, you know,
Gandhi.
Gandhi, stuff like that. So I'm not disagreeing with something like that, but the people who, give uh, without expecting something back, even I would say there are a lot of them out there, but I'm just going to say with everything else, there's good guys and bad guys. There's takers and givers. There's
Yeah, in
always
business there has to be a give and take.
right. And then what you said earlier, which was really a very good way to do your business, is do a win-win situation. Neither one is really messing the other over, and they're both happy with the outcome. So if you get in a situation and a negotiating or anything, at the end of the day, if you're happy with what happened and both parties are happy, win-win situation, then it's probably okay. But when one okay, this is something years and years ago, somebody asked me the difference between a $500 magician and $1,000 magician. And the guy says the difference is the gonads to ask for the $1,000. Okay. So that he's saying that's what's different between a $500 magician and $1,000 magician. And I said, no, that's not. I mean, I've been in this business a long time too. I said, yes, the gonads to ask for it. Yet, if the person feels they've been cheated at the end of the event and they felt they paid too much, you're wrong. If the person would say, man, I love that magician, and they would refer that magician out to somebody else, a friend or a colleague, then yes, that was the truth. But if you find at the other end, then you're not a $1,000 magician because it wasn't a win-win situation.
Yeah, can you maintain and then raise your price? I guess, right? Because you got to cap out somewhere, right?
Well, no, the point was that if you do it, if they don't like you, oh yeah, the balls to keep on at, or the
Yeah,
gonads to keep
they
on
keep
asking.
on going. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, you have to continue it other than just one time, right? So, same
Well,
thing.
or
You're as
to
good as your last show, right?
yeah, that's exactly what I was saying the other day. Is you're only good as your last show and your reputation. Was was we discussing that, or was
I,
doing that with
I'm
somebody
sure
else?
we've talked about that at one point.
Okay, the reputation of what you have and what you do is going to carry with you. So if you again,
Yeah. So again, yeah, again, back to the gurus online, right? Like, so if they weren't rewarding enough people, then they wouldn't be able to keep going, right? So they have to be fulfilling enough people out there, or educating enough people, or people who feel like they've got enough value, whatever, material that they got, or they wouldn't be able to keep going because everybody uh, is at a certain spot of education, right? So maybe to somebody else that wasn't worth what they paid for it, right? Or me personally, I offered something for free to somebody, and then they didn't even want that. I was like, okay. Like, so it's all about the level of, where you're, I guess they call it a tribe. Like, where is your tribe? What level of education or consciousness is this group of people, and if they're, uh, getting enough or getting enough value out of whatever is being offered, then there's no problem with that, right? And then there could be some other people with a different conscious or, level, and they're like, oh yeah, this doesn't make any sense. Well, then you just wouldn't, stick there. And that goes back to, doing sales, right? So this is the one thing that me and my friend were talking about is like, and I think you and I have talked about it before, is that like, you would go all in on somebody, and then you put in all the work and all the time and all the effort, and yet, the results wasn't like what they said it would be. And then when you bring that to their attention, then you just become, the confrontational one. Oh, you haven't done enough, right? And then they just move on to somebody else who is more agreeable, which that's the part that becomes a little bit frustrating because I have done quite a bit. I have put over 500 channels on my YouTube. I realize I have a certain level of success that I'm looking for. And even though I've gotten success with my DJ company, I really want to get better success with the digital marketing agency. And when you take these classes from some of these guys. They're like, oh yeah, it's just this, it's just that. No, no, it's not just anything. There's a freaking wormhole that goes down here. And then quit telling everybody that it is just this, because maybe to you it's that freaking easy, but I've been at this for 5 years, and it's not as easy as you're making it out to be. Yet you still have to make it look that easy, or no one's going to buy your stuff, right? And then if you bring that to your attention, well, you're the confrontational one. I've got results from all these other people, and then you're just like, well, where were these other people when you came into them, right? How much time did you spend with these other people? What was their niche? Maybe there was more of a demand for whatever they were talking about, right? And then they just happened to find it. Or are you taking credit for some other work that they did, and you just kind of came along at the end and tied a few things together? Like, what kind of information is that? Because they're going to use social proof, right? Oh, well, like this one guy is like, oh yeah, 50,000 people have taken this class, right? And then when you got into that class, you realized that you couldn't utilize anything that he was explaining unless you had other tools to make that thing happen. But they didn't tell you that in the front. And then when you bring that to their attention, when the salesperson calls you, they're like, "Oh, what are you talking about?" Yeah, you're disguising things. Like, why don't you just be upfront about it? Like because like I should make another YouTube channel about all the different things some of these other coaches are saying, and well, it could be misleading. Like if you're not educated enough to know what they're misleading you about. And then yeah, the whole altruism thing comes into mind. Like, are they really just trying to do altruism? Are they just trying to feed you enough breadcrumbs until you get so far down the wormhole that you won't know how to get back? And that's what a narcissist does. They just come out and they just tell you all these wonderful things, and then you lean in a little bit more, and then you realize it's not as easy as they were making it out to be. But they'll tell you it was, and they'll tell you all these other people that were easy, and they'll use social proof to try to make you feel bad or something like that. And that's what a narcissist does. I don't know. I kind of went on a
No,
different.
that rabbit hole, that the rabbit hole went down pretty good, and I liked it. So what Scott's saying, and I at least what I'm getting out of what he just said is basically Scott's been there. He's put $10,000 in one coach, and then $10,000 in another
Multiple
coach.
times.
I mean, in another coach and another coach, and we've discussed most of them, not all of them. He's been everywhere. He puts so much money into relearning to get his craft up, and you can tell. Look at the numbers. So Scott's been educated, and if you would just listen to all the stuff we've been talking about for the last 5 years, you would get such an education, because what we talk about each week is how to make things better for people, and what they don't have to learn that we already learned, because Scott's
Yeah,
been
you can't tell me altruism doesn't exist. I mean, you can just go to the YouTube channel and then like, oh yeah,
right.
giving this.
What we're saying though, but what you just said is that a lot of times a coach sells you something that some people you know can use, and he sells it so broad that everyone can use it, because he's got social proof from about 5 people of the 50,000. Now, John made it, Lisa made it, Fred made it. Now, they didn't tell you how they made it. They just said they went to their class and they did make it. Now, they didn't say that the only reason they made it is because they went to their class. They're kind of jumping on the bandwagon saying, that's sort of like saying that somebody's who's already, do you know what an overnight success is in acting is about 5 to 10 years.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
5 to 10 years they've already worked. In the same way with most businesses, because if you don't have something to sell, it doesn't matter how much business you got, because you don't have anything to sell. You don't have a product, you don't have a commodity, you don't have an entertainer, you don't have whatever you. So if you don't have the basics, it doesn't even matter getting all the sell stuff, because what do you have to sell if you don't have something that's of profit? That's why we were saying the difference between a $500 and a $1,000 magician. If you put $1,000 magician out, they expect for $1,000 worth of, magician. Now, if you know, you're putting that out and selling, and they're just happy, your reputation is going to go down. This is where we go back to reputation. So, and I know I get far out just sometimes. So let's go back in. But Scott was saying, he's done so many classes that sometimes you have to watch the surface is not what it seems to be after, because they're reeling you in a lot of times to get you in, kind of catfishing out there, bring you in, and then they don't really have what they said. But now at the lower tier, now, you paid $1,000 to get in, but now it's going to be $2,000 to really learn the stuff you need
Yeah,
to learn.
that's the thing. Yeah, I signed up for this thing and then I get a phone call saying, "Oops, did I lose you? Oh, am I back? Oh,
You're
oh yeah.
back.
Oh, I don't know what happened there. Anyway, I signed up for this thing and then I get a phone call saying, "Oh, but with this thing you're gonna need another thing." And then I get a text message like 2 days later. Well, there's this other thing. Like, how many things are there? Jeez. I thought the first thing I buy, what you said was, this is all you need. And then when you buy that thing, it's like you need something else to make this thing work. And then now we got another thing. Oh, here's another thing. We can have our team do it for you. Like, okay, golly.
It's a rabbit hole. And that's what we're working on right now to let you know before you start spending a lot of money. Check it out. Check it out. That's the same way with the products. You know, do they really have the product they say? Is it really where it's supposed to be? You know, how do you know? You know, so again, what helps a lot of people are Google reviews. You go to and somebody, and that could be, brought up too, like how many people gave you a 5 star, or did anybody give you a 5 star? How many negative reviews? And just like the other day when somebody said a lifetime guarantee, that's if they're still in business. And then when they knock that out, for instance, I've got a lifetime membership to a lot of things. I actually do. So, but they stopped doing them, like IJA, which is International Jugglers. Um, I've got a lifetime membership to them, but they stopped doing it to everybody else, but they don't do anything special for us anymore. We used to get a book. We don't get anything anymore. But then lifetime membership to IJA, I lifetime member to SAM, you know, Association of Magicians, and then I've got International Clowns, and then the just whatever. So we buy a lot of those thinking that will be a member forever. But what happens is it dwindles down because there's nobody like that guy 2 years after his lifetime membership. It didn't matter. And that's only
Yeah,
2 years in.
you got a lifetime membership. And that was like a $4,000 or $5,000 purchase.
And that's the same way. If you want to just go broad on this, go chunk it up, basically going, even with someone who come and does your roof, you got a 50-year guarantee on your roof, but they're out of business in 10 years because they screwed a lot of people, or I mean, that's the same kind of concept. Is basically you get a lifetime guarantee. Oh, you got a lifetime guarantee on these windows unless they break.
Oh my lordy.
And if they break, that's not our fault, you know. So I don't know. But again, let's go back to where we started is find out who you are and do the best you can. And if you're giving something, just understand what you expect in return, or do you? And because the expectations is what's going to deal with your happiness. As the happiness coach, I say if you expect something and you don't get it, more than likely it's not going to make you as happy as it could be. So just put your expectations in control to understand what's going to happen, what's likely to happen, and what's you know, the likely scenarios. And when you do that, then it can help you on your happiness level. What do you got there, Scott?
So I'm in the middle of using AI. I'll end with AI. So
Okay.
basically, I took a I've been using Gemini, right? So we're gonna upload two files. We got a screenshot of me, screenshot of you, and then I'm gonna say make a thumbnail in the style of Mr. Beast using these two headshots, and it's Beast. So, what would you have in the background of us? If we were in the front, there's going to be something in the back.
Are you talking to me or the?
You.
Oh, uh, a big brain.
Okay, so make a thumbnail in the style of Mr. Beast YouTube thumbnails using these two headshots and a big
Or a big.
brain,
See what happens.
big brain in neon background. And this is in the style of a podcast video. Very interesting stuff. I watched the video and I was like, they said how easy it was to do this. And then I watched another video saying that Mr. Beast was the lord of thumbnails on YouTube. So all I have to do is go to this AI and then tell it what I want it to look like. And I don't think it's going to make the whoa, there we go. And then we can remove the titles. Well, wow, look at that. And then, of course, this is educational, right? So we're just going to go down here. I'll show you how I make these. It will take me about 2 seconds, right? So do we download this? Download that, right? Canva over here. What do you want? This is called a weekly check-in, or do you want to call it something else? You, Jeff.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to think. I was thinking knowledge for the week.
What did we talk about today?
Uh, we talked about uh, the word I'm having trouble to say. In
Altruism?
yeah, in reciprocity. We talked about
Well,
reciprocity and
okay, so altruism and reciprocity. Can you create a small YouTube thumbnail title? Or actually, hey, the altruism deception.
there you go.
Boom. Oops. And then we'll just take that and make it 125. Whoa, 125. There we go. Actually, there you go. Done. It's about center. Something like that. And then we'll make that so you can read it. Orange. See, it's altruism. Altruism. Sweet. And that'll be the thumbnail. See how easy that was?
I saw.
Follow the YouTube channel for more. Is that what basically? Yeah, that's basically what we talked about, right?
Yeah. Are we still filming?
Yeah.
There you go. So, uh,
Yeah, you want to say goodbye, follow, like, share? I don't know. Say all that
yeah,
fun stuff.
all
I mean,
those above. We've been doing this around 5 years. And if you want to learn a lot, just go back to all the other ones we've done and give your comments. And if we find something that somebody asked for and wants more knowledge on that we have, we can do a little video on that. But I do like, even if it, what we were revolving at the very first, that first we did pain management and also we did narcissism. That's what we, focused on at first. And then we focused on pain a
that's
little
probably
bit.
why I don't have a lot of followers.
We just focus on a lot of different things because they say riches to niches, niches to riches, basically only do one thing. We've gone
We
on
have
a
so much
path.
ADHD.
Yeah, coming from me. Oh! But we've been doing this around 5 years every week, but maybe once or twice in the last 5 years. Only a few weeks we haven't done either a talk or how to help people or how to help people out of pain. How to, for a while we were focusing on happiness, and for a while we were focusing on narcissism, and then we were focusing on pain, then we were focused on, a lot of DJ business stuff, and then we were focusing a lot on how to gain your business because as time went on that last 5 years, Scott's business just went up and 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 up. And so we focus more on that. And in the last month, we focus more on AI because what's really happened in the world, there's a lot of change in there. And today, every week we come up with something that we think is relevant to the world that might, our two insights together might give somebody some more insight that could help their lives. And we've been doing this for 5 years. We haven't been paid for it. We just do it. I think, again, a giver gives, and I believe we're both givers and we give to the world. And, you know, I do it. I'm not doing it again for say that again with the word
Altruism.
altruism. I'm doing it more of a Zig Ziglar again. Give the world what they want and you'll get what you want. And most of the time, the happiness and everything, when I help people to be more happy, it actually does give me happiness. Because a giver gives and they feel good, and a taker takes and they feel good. But when you don't set your boundaries, that's when you're getting in trouble. I know this is repeating, yet sometimes it's worth repeating. And a lot of times we've gone over the same thing like a tie, we just keep on rotating it, but till you get the message, you're not necessarily going to look out for your own well-being because if you don't look out for yourself, remember, be your own best friend. That's another thing we do out several times throughout the years is be your own best friend and treat yourself good because a lot of times people aren't looking after you. And I'm not saying always, but a lot of times. So what we do is we talk about things that you might want to think about that might help your life. If we told you exactly what to do, then you could blame your whole life on us because we don't have all the answers. We just been there and we're giving you our what we've learned throughout our lives. And I I think we do a pretty good job every week. At least we show up. Showing up is most of the battle, right?
Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah.
Basically, I'm going to leave it at that. And we're gonna, sign on next week. Make sure to follow, like, subscribe. If you're into AI, make sure to follow me. If you, want some hypnosis or self-help talk, we got Tharpo here, and we'll take it from there. We'll catch you on the next one.